You are listening to the Sports and Sorts podcast.
Hubbard's drop deep to left field. Going back Joyce, looking up. See ya! 3,000. History.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Yes! Welcome back to Sports and Sorts, episode 127. We have done 127 of these. I am one of your hosts. My name is Shane Moore.
And I'm your other host, I'm the Prime Man.
And we have lots of sports on the docket today. Playoff baseball, big-time NFL matchups, one in particular, which is a great matchup. Chiefs versus Pats. And, of course, we were talking about Monday Night Football, which is tonight. Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers versus the 49ers. So we will make our picks a little bit later in the show today. But first things first, before we head into all of that, we got one thing and one thing only. And I'm just waiting for this music. I'm trying to draw it out so that it can finally fade out. So I can say the key words. We got a great show. Let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bryman.
All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about today is
Play ball!
We got baseball. October baseball is upon us. Unfortunately, our Yankees are no longer involved.
With us.
Yeah, involved in the playoffs. And the team is going to look drastically different, we hope, come next season. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of the key pieces, but there are going to be some pretty big changes coming in this year. We talked about that last show. We really went in depth, talked about a lot of different things. But right now, we have two matchups right now going on. Dodgers versus the Brew Crew, Sox versus Stros. Mm-hmm. And they're both tied 1-1. Dodgers almost came back in game one, but they ended up tying the series recently and with another entertaining game. I mean,
yep.
I called out Justin Turner last game because, he listens to the show, and he took it personal, and he dropped a bomb into the left field seats and gave them a 4-3 lead.
We do have a surprisingly decent California fan base, don't we?
Of course, yeah. There's a couple, like 1, 2, maybe 3 people that listen worldwide. It's pretty amazing.
There's literally one watching right now.
Yes, there's only one watching right now. With this series right here, we have two different sides that we can kind of look at this, and the two different sides that I like to look at mostly is Clayton Kershaw, especially in the postseason. Something I will want to talk about after this season is complete is when it's all wrapped up and everything's said and done, and Kershaw continues to have his postseason woes. How much is this going to affect his Hall of Fame selection? And how much does it hurt his place in history? Because right now, he still has plenty of time to right the ship. He's picked particularly poorly against one team in general, the St. Louis Cardinals. He had a hard time pitching against them. He obviously did not pitch very well in game one? He didn't pitch very well. And right now, the series ties. It's been entertaining. And he's going to get multiple opportunities going forward. He's going to probably pitch game 4, probably pitch game 7, because he is their ace, and that's what aces do. So we'll see if he can actually step up and start pitching a little better when it's crunch time. I mean, do you think, as of right now, the way that he's pitched in the postseason, how much does that hurt his legacy?
It hurts his legacy. I don't know. I don't think it hurts his Hall of Fame candidacy.
I don't think he's going to have because if he pitched as well as he has in the in the regular season, and then comes and dominates in the playoffs, that is like that's like a no doubter, like first ballot Hall of Famer, like highest rating ever.
It hurts. It does hurt the legacy. I mean, as far as how you will remember him, which is how we define legacy. I don't think it impacts his Hall of Fame candidacy. When all is said and done, he's likely to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but as long as he keeps, kind of trending on the path that he's on. But absolutely, the legacy, sure. If he does not win a World Series with a team that, one, with their payroll, two, that's already been to a World Series and, went to a Game 7, and he's got a chance. He's got as good a chance this year to get it. The Dodgers swung home field advantage back in their favor this weekend. If he gets to another one and they lose another one, and let's be honest, the chances of them losing the World Series this year, should they actually get there, are pretty high, because you're either going to be facing a Boston team that won 108 games, or you're going to be facing an Astros team that's the defending champions and looks as hungry as they did last year, if not more so. So his legacy, I mean, he could be 0-2 in World Series. And look, there's just no guarantee that you keep getting back to these things, I mean, we know how this is for great players. Dan Marino lost the first Super Bowl he got in, thought he'd be back, never went back.
Right.
Clayton Kershaw could be that. Now, that's not a horrible thing. But, yeah, you know what? Listen, I would imagine it would eat away at him. I don't think he'd care about how other people feel about him, but if he finishes this game being as great a pitcher as he was in this era, maybe being the best pitcher of his era and not having any jewelry to show for it, I think it would define his legacy a little bit, sadly. I mean, and I hate to say that too, like when you look at, as a Dolphins fan, and you look at Dan Marino, it pains me to know that his legacy was he was the greatest pure passer who ever lived, but he didn't get a championship. Right. That is it. He's Dan Marino's got that best to never win it label. And Clayton Kershaw, he could have that, I mean, he could be the Ernie Banks of pitchers,
That's sad. It really is. It's really sad. I don't even know really what to do about that. Like it's one of those things that you want him to be so dominant in both the regular season and in the postseason. It just hasn't happened, and I think he will. I think he will get one, though. I do. I think he will. I think with the way the Dodgers spend money in a National League that is still relatively weak in general. I mean, the path to the World Series in the National League at least at this point, and maybe even for the foreseeable future, is a lot easier through the National League than it is in the American League. I do think the window is not closed on him, even if they don't get there this year, and even if they get there and they don't win, the window hasn't closed on Clayton Kershaw. I think there's still a few more opportunities, and I do think he will get one. I do. I don't know. I don't have the feeling that he's going to be that great one that doesn't get a ring. I think he will, but but we'll see. I mean, it definitely will impact his legacy for sure if he doesn't win a championship, and if he doesn't right the ship in the playoffs. All right. Let's. We don't have to talk about that matchup very much. It's not really the hot matchup. I mean, obviously, the when these games are played has obviously proven that it's not the hot matchup, because the Red Sox versus the Astros are the ones that are getting all the late games. And
baseball's certainly not making. They're not trying to hide the fact that they don't really care about the Dodgers and Brewers.
It's not that they don't care about the Dodgers. I think the Brewers are it's the Brewers. Like, I mean, there's just a Midwestern team that's not like it's not sexy. Like, there's just nothing to it, but.
To me, I think that's the great appeal of it. How do you not want to see the World Series?
You're a diehard baseball fan. There's not a lot of us out there. And I think most people are like, oh, the Dodgers, yeah, I'd like to see them in the World Series. I'd like to see the Astros kind of made themselves a well-known team over the last couple of years.
Baseball wants Dodgers, Red Sox for the television markets.
Yeah. I mean, they couldn't, but they could even market the Astros versus the Dodgers easily, right? Because obviously
just they're defending champions,
exactly, and
Houston's a big market too. But the sad part about it is, I don't think either of these World Series will be very competitive. I don't think it matters what combination at all. I don't see it being a competitive World Series. I see it being over in 5 games. The American League team should win relatively easy, and that's how I'd pick it. That is how actually I did pick it. I did pick Red Sox over Dodgers in 5, so we'll see. I mean, I will tell you though. I mean, I'm more intrigued actually by the National League matchup, just because I don't know, anytime the Red Sox win the American League Championship Series, it's just not something I want to watch. It's like I have to, it's like I have to grind through it emotionally. But I will tell you though, I just wanted to say to you, I think this whole notion of the Red Sox blowpen is a little bit. I think we maybe can put that to rest now. I would say their bullpen, as I have said all along, is very much a bend don't break unit, which I think is kind of accurate.
It's not though. It's still, they haven't really gotten into their bullpen. They're using Rick Porcello as their, and that is solid. That solidified it. So it's not the actual blowpen. They're not using it, and I think that's something that.
But that's smart. That's a good adjustment on Cora's part.
Right.
I mean, it's a necessary.
There's this whole thing, like, obviously Houston took the first game and they dominated Boston. They dominated Boston in the first game. But, we get game 2, David Price. He looked like a normal postseason David Price. But, he actually, he looked pretty good for him.
Ovation walking off. Oh,
that's
God.
Ugly. I mean, he pitched pretty good for him in the postseason, which is still pretty bad because he went 4 2/3 and gave up 4 runs. Garrett Cole, who, and the Yankee text group was getting bashed about how he's a fake ace and all that kind of stuff. And Garrett Cole, he pitched better than David Price. He went 6 innings, K'd 5. He wasn't sharp, and even though he gave up 4 earned runs, he still left this game losing 5-4 because of, they had an error. But the Sox, they eventually tied the series up 1-1, and it was a pretty sloppy game by the Astros. They made multiple errors. I know I only said 1 in the box score, but there was multiple pass balls by Maldonado, and it was brutal. It was like watching Gary Sanchez back there during the regular season. And he helped provide another run because obviously, Betts got to second, and then Betts got to third, and then Betts scored on a pass ball. So it was really bad. Right. And, Alex Cora, like you just mentioned, he decided to be flexible with Porcello and bring him out in the pen, and that has turned this into less of a blow pen. It's more of a bend don't break. And they still have some really bad arms out there, but Porcello has definitely helped them a lot. And this is the key to all this, is as long as Nathan Eovaldi pitches well in the playoffs, I think Porcello might not get a start because they're just going to be delegating him to the pen because he's shown that he can help there and he's been pitching well. Now,
it does become an issue of, are you robbing Peter to pay Paul?
Right.
Because, if you're going to – Porcello is a really solid starter, and he can give you a lot of length too. He's not a guy that blows his arm out after 4 or 5 innings. Yeah. He does. He works really quick. If he's on, he's nearly untouchable. Mm-hmm. So, you got to be careful there if you're Boston because your rotation thins out now.
Yeah. And
you lose a guy that you really could rely on in a big start. So, but then again, I think Cora, he only pitched him 1 inning just to I think he was just trying to bridge the gap from the 8th to get to Kimbrel.
Yeah.
So he's basically your setup man now.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And this is going to be the next game that happens is, you've Dallas Keuchel versus probably Nathan Eovaldi. I'm assuming that's who they picked. As of last night, they still hadn't named their starter for game 3. Probably because it was Porcello, and then they took Porcello and they brought him in the game, so he's not going to start. But Eovaldi has not pitched particularly well against his Astros team. This year, he faced them once, and he gave up 4 home runs. And he faced them once in 2016 with similar results. He went 5 innings and gave up 5 runs. Now, I have never fully understood how Dallas Keuchel gets people out, but he has been a pretty good big game pitcher for them. He sits with a 3.28 ERA and 8 starts with a 4-2 record during the postseason. He has been very good for them. It'll be very interesting to see how he handles this, but now they are going back home. And that is not as friendly of a hitter's park as Fenway. So it'll be very interesting to see how this all transpires because Eovaldi pitched. He had a dominant game against us in the regular season. Yeah, and that is confidence. He also has motivation against us in the going into the postseason and in the regular season because we're like, see you later, dude. And he actually used that. He used that as fuel, and he dominated us 2 important games. And now he's going against the Astros, who have actually, kind of manhandled him throughout the last couple years at least.
Yeah.
And this is a potent offense. This Astros offense is potent. They're going to be at home. They're going to have the home crowd behind them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that they're going to sweep them at home because I think that would almost be impossible. But it was really good for the Astros to take one in Boston. Really good. It was key
necessary.
And now they have to go home and they have to win the series at home, and then they're going to have to take one more on the road in the last couple games. But this is going to be a good series. Unless the Astros come out and dominate, because I don't see the Boston Red Sox coming out and dominating the Astros. The Astros are too good of a team. They have too deep of a bullpen. They have too good their arms that they throw at you, whether it's Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, you have Dallas Keuchel. I mean, they have, and even what's his face, who was the journeyman for a little while, and now he came back. He kind of throws like Roy Halladay.
Lance McHugh, McCullers?
No, their fourth starter.
McCullers?
No. It's not McCullers. He's a bullpen guy now. It's Charlie Morton.
Morton. Yeah.
Morton, yeah. He's the guy that he has really turned it around ever since he put in an Astros uniform, and he was huge for them in the postseason last year. So it's
as we've discovered, you put on an Astros uniform as a pitcher, and suddenly you're a better version of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, he had kind of shown signs. Like when he was pitching, he actually went back to the minors. He asked to go back to the minors to make his whole windup and his whole delivery, and he patterned it right after Roy Halladay. And he actually came back, and everybody was kind of, for a while, was like, he throws almost identical to Roy Halladay now. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah.
He didn't quite have the same stuff as Halladay in his heyday, but he has pretty darn good stuff, so it really pays off. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this whole series transpires, because obviously Sale isn't himself still.
And now Sale was admitted to the hospital last night with some sort of a stomach virus or
This is brutal. I mean, it's not going well, but Cora is somehow mending it all together and making it work for the time being.
He is.
It's impressive, but at the same
he's
time,
a good manager.
At the same time, it's also, as a Red Sox fan, you got to be a little nervous. In the playoffs, you can never be too overly confident, no matter what side you're on, just because you said, you're only as good as your starting pitcher and your defense. So, and the Red Sox have a phenomenal outfield and a pretty solid defense. Yeah. So I mean, even Devers, he's been making plays at third,
and he's hitting too. Yeah. He's hitting a little bit too.
It's been incredible. So,
it's going to be I agree with you. I think it's a 7-game series. I really do. And I don't like Houston's chances in the 7th game, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, this team is a really good team. They have a lot of clutch hitters on both sides. But, it's just Springer, when it comes down to, it's not a guy. He's not a guy that I love.
I love him.
But when it comes down to being clutch, he hits some big home runs. And he hits them in bunches. Yeah. So
Now, did you agree with what I said last night before that at bat when it was 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs, and you had first base open, and I was like, you can't pitch to him here. You just can't. And then sure enough, like 2 pitches later, he gets a hit, ties the game. I'm like, you have to actually pitch to Altuve because Altuve is hurt. He's been way too aggressive at the plate lately. He's swinging at bad pitches, and he did. Like that at bat, he swung at a fastball that was above his head. Granted, that doesn't take much, but he swung at a fastball that was 3 inches above his helmet.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I mean, come on. I'm not a baseball manager by any stretch, but even I know this. You can't pitch to Springer in that spot. You got to put him on first and take your chances with Altuve, which I know sounds weird, but Springer's like a 400 hitter in the postseason. There was a fairly good chance that he was going to come through there, and he did. I mean, it worked out okay. The Red Sox won, but, I don't know. Tough spot. I wouldn't pitch to Springer in a spot like that. If you've got first base open and a couple outs, just put him on, take your chances with somebody else, even if it's Altuve.
Yeah. I don't know. That is a difficult situation to be in. You got to pitch better. I mean, obviously that wasn't the greatest pitch in the world that he hit, but
that's the point. He's so hot right now and so locked in. It looks like he's going to hit bad pitches.
Yeah, he could. I mean, he really could. All right, so. I actually can't even see the live feed right now. I'm going to try and keep messing with it. I'm trying to do it on the side. but I haven't been able to get it to come back. I actually reinstalled this new software and now it's gone. So I'll have to try and re-find it somehow.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. So if you're listening, put them in the comments. If I can't do it on this, I'll try and open it up on my laptop over here and feed it that way. All right. Okay, so that's pretty much it for our baseball talk. I mean, we don't have to really get into too much more. I mean, there obviously they're very big games going forward. This is both of them are great series so far, 1-1. You can't ask for more, especially if you're a baseball fan. And the Brewers are an exciting team, even though they're not a well-known team. And the Dodgers, sexy name. Red Sox, sexy name. Even the Astros are a sexy name because they're the world champions, the defending world champions. So. It's going to be very entertaining going forward, and it'll be fun to see who actually ends up winning.
Well, you got 2 best-of-5 series right now.
Yep. All right, so you know what we're going to do real quick? We will play our commercial real quick and come back with Patriots versus Chiefs and some other NFL hot topics right after this.
Gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bryman. 75% sports and 25% sorts.
Did you hear that? Oh man, we had so much,
oh boy,
so much crap going on over here. What's that?
What's that? What? What's that? Playoffs?
Oh man. So good.
It's great that you can only hear just like 1 second of that soundbite and you know exactly what it is. What's that?
What's that? So I'm gonna click on something here and see what that does. It didn't show anything on my side, and now I'm gonna click on this one and see if I don't know what ambient broadcast means. I don't know, man. I don't know. We could end up just like disappearing. Ambient broadcasting? What is it? Nope, I don't see that either. I'm going to take that off. How about that?
Okay.
This is very exciting stuff. Wait, yeah. I heard something. I heard like some stuff.
Shit.
It was like, I heard the clicks, that I hear when people are making comments on the page.
Oh.
So I don't know if that was the right thing to do. Ambient broadcast? Ambient stream, also called continuous streams, can exceed the 4-hour limit. However, they will disappear from your timeline. Oh, no. No, we're not going to do that. I got it now. All right, so I'm not really sure how to get there. I can click on this and see if there's any comments. Can you hear me now? Doubling it up?
Well, I hear you now. Hey, look, I actually see you as watching.
You see me as watching?
Yes.
This is great. All right, well, you know what? Let's get into some Chiefsies. Versus the Patriots. Because that was a good game. That was fun. A lot of fun. Wait. I just saw your post on Facebook about Shane Moore. Please change my official prediction score to 45-12 Bears.
Yeah. After Brock Osweiler was put in as starting quarterback,
yes.
Because
Ryan
Tannehill has some mystery injury that nobody really has defined yet.
It's and speaking of, it's time for some Sunday football picks, and I am just going to announce right off the bat here that I am the new Madden jinx. If I pick your team to win, I'm sorry. The Bry Man, on the other hand, you had a decent week. You got 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
I got 1 out of 3. How are you feeling about those Fins, though? How you doing, buddy?
I'll tell you what. As I was telling you before we went live this morning, I was convinced I was not going to be able to do the show today because I thought I was going to lose my voice. Because,
which I'm losing my voice, but...
Right, ironically, it somehow passed to you. But at around 4:30 yesterday afternoon, I was screaming in the basement like an absolute banshee, just like a maniac, to the point where when I went upstairs, the wife looks at me and she's like, really? I'm like, that was a little more excessive than usual. And I usually don't get excited about the Dolphins. I'm usually at such a point with the Dolphins because, you just always expect the worst to happen with them.
Yeah.
And the way that game went yesterday, especially with Kenyon Drake fumbling the ball at the 1-yard line, and then he's sitting on the sideline with the towel wrapped around his head, not even wanting to look at anybody, and everybody's going up to him and trying to console him and basically be like, yeah, well, we know you blew the game, but hey, don't worry, you'll get him next time. But I'll tell you what, though, to Brock Osweiler's credit, he was one of the guys who went up to Kenyon Drake, and I thought this was a great story, and he went up to Kenyon Drake while that towel's draped over his head, and he said, listen, this guy's going to miss this kick. We're going to get the ball back, and we're going to need you because we're going to go down the field and win this game. And, sure enough, that happened. Cody Parkey, former Dolphin, who I was 100% convinced was going to make that kick just because it really would have capped what would have been one of the worst losses in franchise history. They've had 3 – it would have been 3 – not only 3 horrible losses in a row, but it would have been – each one would have been more excruciating than the previous one. Mm-hmm. This one would have been the worst. But Cody Parkey goes wide right. The Dolphins get the ball back. Kenyon Drake has a huge play, I think like a 17 or so yard gain on a reception. Goes down the field. He had a couple of carries too. And somehow the Dolphins rookie kicker Jason Sanders drills a 47-yarder to win this game. And I was going bonkers. And, it just goes to show you that as much as I hate this team, I still love them dearly. And obviously I want them to win. I don't want to be that guy that says, well, I just want my team to tank so we can get a number 1 or number 2 draft pick and get our quarterback of the future, whether it's, Herbert from Oregon or Drew Lock from Missouri. We talk about that stuff all the time. And here's the other thing, too. I'm also very level-headed about it because I still realize that the Dolphins are still the worst 4-2 team I've ever seen. And I remember saying that a year ago at this time because they were also 4-2, which people don't forget. The Dolphins were actually a 4-2 team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Mark, I understand what Mark's saying that the Bears handed the game to the Dolphins, but if you're a Bears fan, you should be absolutely ashamed of yourself right now. Because not only did you lose to this really crappy team, but you lost to a crappy team that was playing a backup quarterback. Brock Osweiler has never done anything in his career that even remotely resembles what he did yesterday. Now, I will grant you that a lot of that had to do with Albert Wilson and the Bears' inability to tackle him anywhere in open space. But, the bottom line is you can't lose that game. Where was Khalil Mack yesterday? That was a weird because he has been everywhere every game. And this game, he was nowhere to be found. Yeah, I think he was hurt. He did get hurt a little bit. He got hurt earlier in the game. He was a little bit hobbled. And he just couldn't get any pressure on the quarterback. And Laramie Tunsil was actually having his way with him, which was shocking because Laramie Tunsil doesn't have his way with anybody. The only thing that Laramie Tunsil has his way with is a bong mask. Oh, but he did manage to keep Khalil Mack. And in fact, I don't think Osweiler got sacked yesterday, which is crazy because the whole rep for the Bears going into this game was that they've been this really, really good defensive team. And that they were going to get to the quarterback, and that's why I sent that message to you in the morning. As soon as I found out Brock Osweiler was going to be starting, I'm like, please change my score to have an even bigger separation between these two teams. You know what? But here's the one thing I will give the Dolphins credit for. They show because at one point in that game it's 21-10 yesterday, Bears. And if you're a Dolphin fan, that outcome is sealed. It is set in stone. You know exactly how that's going to play out. every single Dolphins fan on the world, I was on Twitter all afternoon yesterday, every Dolphins fan in the world knew how that game was going to turn out. They knew exactly how that game was going to turn out. All right? And you're playing with a backup quarterback down by 11 against a team that really should be really just completely destroying you. And I will give the Dolphins a little bit of credit. They showed a little something yesterday.
It's funny because Mark just wrote, Dolphins get 0 credit.
That's fine. You could say that, but then again, I'll have to turn that right back around on you and say, how can you possibly say that when your team was, first of all, favored to win the game and going up against a backup quarterback? You got to give the Dolphins some credit. It can't just be all the Bears on that one. You had a quarterback who performed pretty well, threw 3 touchdowns, had 1 pick. It was a bad pick. It was a stupid interception he threw into the middle of the end zone, and TJ McDonald picked him off. But you have to give the Dolphins a little bit of credit. You can't just sit here and say it's 100% on the Bears, and that the Bears, in order for a team to lose a game, another team has to win a game.
Yeah.
So there has to be some kind of a balance there. Now, the Bears, look, the Bears had every opportunity to win that game. The Dolphins tried to hand it to them. And yes, the Bears did a good job of handing it back. It was like a hot potato that nobody wanted. We don't want to win this game. But somebody had to win, and the Dolphins did pull it off. And again, I'm going to keep stressing to do that with not only a backup quarterback, but with a quarterback that basically nobody wanted. It's ridiculous. What do you want to yell at me about? Not to mention, here, I'll give you something else if you want to yell about too. The referees did everything in their power yesterday to hand that game to the Bears. Served it up on a silver platter with a bunch of more. These ridiculous penalty flags that are getting thrown week after week after week, not just against the Dolphins, it's all over the league. I turned on another game yesterday, and the very first thing I saw was a crappy penalty call. So you had the NFL trying to hand the game to the Bears because, let's be honest, the NFL doesn't want the Dolphins doing anything. They'd much rather see the Bears do well. And on top of it, you couldn't beat a backup quarterback who isn't even good enough to be called a journeyman. Ryan Fitzpatrick is good enough to be called a journeyman. Brock Osweiler is an utter failure and a bust. And he beat you yesterday. So how you like them apples? Yeah, go ahead. Call me later. I don't give a shit.
Jeez. Come on. You just turned this podcast from clean to dirty. Oh,
sorry.
Thanks,
that's
Mark.
That's the first one.
Thanks, Mark.
The refs were fine. Oh, my God. You were not even watching that game. What, did you see the highlights on SportsCenter? The refs were fine. Like, give me a break.
Oh, the Bry man cometh. Yes, he does.
Listen, I never stick up for the Dolphins. Ever. But listen, if you're the Bears, you got to look at yourself. You have to look in the mirror and say, yeah, you know what? We did. We lost to a bad team. We lost to a bad Devil's Triangle dirty. No, nothing's that dirty. I mean, yes, we lost to a bad team. But at the same time, you do have to give the Dolphins some credit because they won a game that they should not have won with a backup quarterback. They were dead to rights at 21-10. And instead of pulling normal Dolphin crap and going in the tank, they actually decided to pick themselves up and do something. Which to me is very un-Dolphin-like. So that's why I have to give them a little credit. Now, are they gonna lose next week to the Lions? Yes, of course they are going to lose to the Lions. Of course Matthew Stafford is going to go in there, throw for 600 yards, and hit Golden Tate for like 2 touchdowns. We know that that's going to happen. Kerryon Johnson, who's had one 100-yard game in his life, is going to probably bust out for about 220, and the Lions are going to run roughshod on the Dolphins because, that's just the way it is. But I'm sorry. I will say that it's probably 60% on the Bears for losing that game, but I have to give the Dolphins some credit. Down 21-10, everyone in the stadium turned on the Dolphins, by the way. All the Bears fans who were there got loud, and it actually turned into a home game for the Bears. And the Dolphins figured out a way to claw back. I'm sorry, if you're going to sit here and say that it's completely on the Bears, that is an irresponsible take. I'm sorry, it just is. You have to give some credit to the team that actually won the game.
Interesting.
Do you agree with that?
Me?
Yeah.
Or Mark? Because I didn't watch that game.
No, No, I mean, but don't you agree that if you're down 21-10 and you've been playing the way that you have been with a backup quarterback, that you have to give some credit?
I agree. Whenever
to the winning team,
when Brock Osweiler is your starting quarterback, the other team already has they have become a 10-point favorite. They have become a 10-point favorite. That's how bad Osweiler is. Yes, he has had moments, but he's not a good quarterback.
And
the Bears' rush defense should have taken
380 yards and 4 touchdowns.
The Bears' pass defense should have really taken advantage of that, and they didn't. So I mean, that's just what it is. And that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
You know what? That's just horrible. No credit to the Dolphins. I mean, at least as much as I hate the Patriots and I call them out on a weekly basis for being who they are, I do give them credit, as I will in a couple of minutes when we talk about that game. But come on, you got to be. I mean, at least try to be fair. At least be fair.
You want to be fair. All right.
I even said 60-40. 60% of it is on the Bears, 40% the Dolphins get credit for. I'm not even giving them half credit. I'm giving them a less than half portion of credit.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let's move on. That was a lot longer than I expected. But the game we have to talk about are the Patriots versus the Chiefs, which we did dub as our. We dubbed it as our game of the week, and
it came through.
It really did come through. I mean, that was a very, very fun game to watch. I'll give us about 8 minutes or so here to talk about this game. We had said on the show last week that Belichick's record against young quarterbacks is outstanding, and we expected more of the same. Although I had the game much closer than you did. I had it 38-35. You had it 36-24. And Mahomet the Clown, he stared into the abyss that is Belichick, and he did not flinch. He got the L.
Well, he did in the first half, but yeah.
But still, when he got down early, he did not flinch. He stepped back in the pocket. He made throws that he needed to make, and a couple with you couple that with like the special teams play that he had, the huge kick return, Kareem Hunt being a beast in the backfield. It was a really fun game to watch, particularly like the last several drives. I mean,
yes.
When us people who detest the Patriots see Mahomet the Clown, who don't mess around, step back and drop a pass right into the speedy Tyreek Hill's hands for a bomb of a touchdown, we're all like, yes, Mahomes can be the man to beat the Patriots in the playoffs. And then we looked at the clock and said, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Brady can make this drive work within a minute, and the Chiefs just gave him 3. The Pats are going to win this game. And sure enough, they did. And for me, and as I said, I detest the Patriots, detest them. But even I laughed and kind of jumped up and was like, oh, when Gronk went and gave that stiff arm, pushed the defender to the ground. That was kind of incredible, because if there's one guy that I kind of enjoy off the Patriots, it's Gronk, because he doesn't seem like a Patriot. He seems like a goofball.
Oh, he's just a meathead.
He's just a goofball, and it wasn't as good as like the Vance McDonald ones with his multiple stiff arms, but it was still great. That was like one of those highlights that's just going to be played for a while, because that was just a fun little play. But Mahomes, he really changed. He did what a lot of these other young quarterbacks don't do. He came back in the second half, adjusted, and made throws. He didn't let the Patriots, the fear of the Patriots take over. And he's like, nope, I'm going to come in and I'm going to start making throws. I'm going to start scoring some points. And he did. Came back and he did. And as he grows and as he learns how to utilize his feet and move around a little bit more in the pocket and actually use his feet to get some yards, to get some cheap first downs, the dude is going to be unstoppable. I mean, this guy is so talented, and the fact that he went in with his crap defense that he has, he went in and he held. He got so close to beating Brady, and he actually thought he probably made the game-winning drive, but yeah, like I said, we all looked at the clock and we were like, oh crap, he's got 3 minutes. Like, this is easy. Like, he's going to easily get into field goal territory. Like, if not, if he needed to score a touchdown, if he needed to score 8 to win, he probably could have. Like,
nothing. You know what's interesting is nothing about this game was surprising. I'm not surprised it was close. I'm not surprised the Patriots won. I'm not surprised Patrick Mahomes played well. I was very, very happy and relieved to see, especially in the second half, that the moment was not too big for him, because that was something I was very concerned about after that first half. They're down 24-9. They go into the locker room, and he hasn't done anything offensively. And your biggest concern is, oh, my God, this moment is way, way too big for this guy. But he bounced back. He bounced back, and it wasn't too big for him. And you know what? If you're the Chiefs, if nothing else, you've served a little bit of notice that – well, it's bound to happen. At least, if nothing else, you've served a little bit of notice to the Patriots.
Can't squeeze into the cat door again?
No. This is one that wants to get upstairs.
Brian, push me. Push me from the back, please. Come here.
Oh, she's going nuts.
Squeeze
I mean,
me
actually,
in.
I'm going to actually
Crisco.
have to...
Get the Crisco.
Let's just see. Maybe she just... Hey, Cindy. Unfortunately, the wife's not upstairs to let her up. She's probably putting the baby down for a nap. No, but you know what? The Chiefs served notice and said, hey, you know what? We're here. We're going to be here in the end. You're going to have to go through us again, whether it's in New England or whether it's in Kansas City. These are the two best teams in the AFC. They are going to play each other again for the right to go to the Super Bowl. The question is going to be, where's that game going to be played? If it's in New England, the result will be the same. If it's in Kansas City, I actually give the Chiefs a decent shot. But here's the bottom line. Here's the one thing, though, that gives me a little bit of hope that maybe the Chiefs can pull this off. Is that I knew it was coming right in that open airspace. I knew that's when it was coming. The one thing that gives me a little bit of hope that the Chiefs can pull this off, though, is that they actually have some guys coming back from injury, hopefully, like Justin Houston and maybe Eric Berry. If those guys come back, they could be the difference, because there is no help on the way for the Patriots. They're really – I mean, these are both sieve defenses. Really, really bad defenses. And I just – mother. I
really disagrees with you.
She vehemently –
Is she a Patriots fan?
I don't.
She wasn't making any noise during the Dolphins talk.
No. She didn't care about that. She's like, oh, there he goes. I heard about those Dolphins. But look, there is hope. There is hope for the Chiefs here if they can get healthy on defense. And if that game is in Kansas City, I give them a shot. Actually, I give them a decent shot to win an AFC Championship game. And Patrick Mahomes showed me a lot last night. And I'm sure the Patriots were relieved that he wasn't the guy with the ball in his hands last.
That dude has.
And now I'm going to go take care of this cat.
I'll put the camera completely on me for a few seconds, and then you can go take care of that cat. I'll be right.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, great.
All right. So, that game was amazing to watch. And as Mark had mentioned, there was the receiving yards after catch, like that was amazing. Amazing to see. Like, the yards after catch was just incredible. I mean, Tyreek Hill is so fast, and Kareem Hunt is even he catches the ball out of the backfield. He is just so talented. This team is just amazing on offense, and if they can figure out how to become like the Patriots, the bend don't break defense, this team is going to be so good for so long, because they have so many offensive weapons, and then you add the talented Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback to that roster. Oh my gosh, this team is just going to be so much fun to watch. I mean, between them and having, Jared Goff and all the talent that they have, and then you could see the Chiefs versus the Rams multiple times over the next several years in the Super Bowl. That, and those two teams, talk about high-powered, fun Super Bowls. I mean, the over-under on that's going to be like 50-something, 60-something. It might even be 70. I mean, I don't know, 80, 90. I don't know. It's going to be ridiculous.
I would say an over-under right now on a Chiefs-Rams Super Bowl would have to be around 67 or so.
Yeah.
How could it not be?
I mean, easily.
Because the Rams are going to put up 30 to 35 on it, because the Chiefs just have no defense.
The Rams have some defense. If they can get, like I just said,
that's what I'm saying.
The Chiefs can get to that bend, don't break defense, like the Patriots have. Watch out, because that's going to be incredible. That's going to be these two teams. Because the Rams are better than bend don't break. They do give up a lot of points from time to time, but they do have some playmakers.
They're an above average. Yeah, they have playmakers,
and they have people that can rush the quarter. I mean, they have two really good. I mean, with Sue and Donald. Yeah, I was going to call him Darnold for a second. And Donald. Between those two guys, they can really put some pressure on the quarterback.
Yes.
It's just,
and you know that they've got good corners. So I mean,
I mean. It's gonna. Was it Peters? That's a really good.
Peters,
and Talib's there, and when they
good
as
veterans,
the season
as
the season goes on, they're going to be a little bit healthier. They had a little, their lower halves were banged up a little bit for after like the second game, so they're going to just get a little healthier. But they are narrowly kind of getting these. The last 2 weeks have kind of been eagers for them.
The only thing I'll disagree on what you said there about the Patriots defense being bend don't break.
Not this year. Not this year. It's not.
Yeah, no, they're mostly a break.
Yeah, they're a sieve. I mean, they're like the Chiefs. They're just a sieve.
Now again though, the Patriots could be one of those teams that could literally outscore their way to winning a Super Bowl. It could happen. I mean, you don't want to rule it out. I would just like to believe that when it gets to our preseason picks for the Super Bowl were relatively similar. We both had the Rams, and I think you had who did you have in the AFC? I had the Patriots. But who did you have in the AFC? I don't remember.
Steelers.
You're the Steelers, okay. Yeah. So the bottom line, though, is if it's the Rams would give me hope that they could beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl because I
wasn't predicting that the Chiefs would be this good this early. Like I thought they were going to start off the season really well, but I would pick I don't know what I picked them, but I think like maybe 9-7 or something like that. I didn't think they were going to be this good. But
I will tell you the one thing that really scares me a lot about the Patriots is that. It just bothers me so much. They are as well balanced on offense as maybe they've ever been, though.
The Patriots? Yeah. Oh my gosh, with Edelman and Gordon and Gronk.
I mean, what I'm talking about more is Sony Michel and James White.
Yeah. Well, Michel's been great for them. I mean, he's been phenomenal. He's
and
White's
they
a good receiving. Yeah.
They are doing such a down the middle split with White and Sony Michel. Sony Michel did not catch one ball. James White caught a bunch of balls last night. Sony Michel ran for over 100 yards.
Yeah.
They have a tremendous balance right there with those two guys, combined with all their weapons receiving. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, Edelman and Hogan and Gronk and Gordon. Oh my, it's scary.
Yeah.
That team could put up points in a heartbeat. So. That's the one thing that really scares me.
And again, it happened again yesterday with Tom Brady. Tom Brady had another fumble this time. He has another turnover, which his turnovers this year are much higher, way higher than they have been in years past. And that is, he doesn't seem to be the same quarterback he was. He seems like he's trying to do a little bit more than he used to.
You know what? Actually, the way I look at him now, and I know he threw for well over 300 yards yesterday, but I think he only threw for one touchdown. But what I am,
he rushed for one too, though. So.
What I am noticing, yes, that's right.
That is part right there. That rushing touchdown that he had. That right there is where the rule that they're doing with the quarterback is really biting the defense because the guy he didn't want to take him to the ground, get a penalty, and get them on the one. He just he thought he passed it, so he let him go. And
you could make an argument that at this point in the season, that this rule, this inability now to hit the quarterback or whatever, has not only caused a season-ending injury to the Dolphins for William Hayes, and now it has caused potentially. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Patriots wouldn't have won the game anyways, because there was still going to be a flag on that play, which would have given them an automatic first down. They probably would have scored. But look at how it's impacting plays now. I mean, guys are afraid to wrap up.
Yeah.
I mean, this is football.
Mm-hmm.
This is a violent game. It's called smash mouth football for a reason.
Not anymore.
I'm telling you, the refs, not just the refs, it's not really the refs, it's the NFL is just taking the teeth out of this game. It's the one thing that separates this game from so many others. So many other sports are finesse sports. Football is violent, and that's what people like about it, and you're taking the teeth out of that. I'm telling you, the NFL is a hard product to watch.
Football now.
Yeah, and you and I are going to be watching football together next weekend, and we will be able. So now, and we'll move around to a bunch of games, because I've got Sunday tickets. So we'll bounce around.
Two TVs. I'm not worried about.
I've got two TVs. Yeah, but But what I think you're going to start to notice, if you haven't noticed it already, is as we bounce around to games, you'll see how many of these games become really unwatchable with the flags. It's just one flag after another, and not only is it the quantity of flags, but the things that are being called for penalties in so many cases are reprehensible. There were so many times I was screaming at the TV yesterday. Mostly during the Dolphin game because of some flags and then obviously ridiculous, stupid plays by the Dolphins. But then on top of that, moving around to other games, seeing just horrible penalties being called, ticky-tack penalties, things that just should never be called penalties. And they're being called regularly, and it's like they've got to go right back to the drawing board with this and reinterpret these rules.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, this product, that's what's going to get people to stop watching. And I've harped on that all year, and I'm sticking by that. People are going to stop watching this game if they can't get this under control. I understand. I understand you need to protect quarterbacks. I get it. Even these guys on defense get it. Clay Matthews will tell you, I get it. I understand. That's what draws people to the game. It's the most important position in all of sports. We have to protect that position. But you're doing so at the expense of maybe costing teams games. And the NFL is almost literally responsible for William Hayes being out for the entire year. And that's a big injury for the Dolphins, too. Huge injury to their line.
Yeah.
Not a guy they can replace.
Not
at this point in the season.
All right, so I want to get a couple questions before we sign off. We're going to be getting off here in like about 10 minutes or so. I want to talk about some other players that need some discussion. For one, this goes to anybody out there who's listening as well. Out of the several really talented running backs that are in the league, we have Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott, Le'Veon Bell, Melvin Gordon, David Johnson, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, yada yada yada. There's a lot of them out there. If you could pick only one to have on your team, who would you pick? I mean, for me, I'll say mine first.
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, it's a tough call because like I said, there's so much talent. Like I started to lean towards Kareem Hunt just because he's so young. But I decided I would go with Saquon Barkley just because of his age. And as of right now, he's one of the best in the league. It's only his first year, and with the liability he has at quarterback, he's on pace for like 1,200 rushing yards, and he's on pace for almost 100 receptions with about 900 receiving yards. And that's like Todd Gurley. And Todd Gurley is currently my favorite running back to watch. Yeah. But he's a little bit older, so because of that, I would go with Barkley because he reminds me of Gurley. So that's why I would go with him, and he would have to be my pick. Who would be yours?
You know what? This was tough. I mean, the first name that actually popped into my head was Kareem Hunt, and then I was like, well, should it be Kareem Hunt though? I mean, look at the year that Gurley's having, the amount of just the touchdown. I mean, he's an end zone machine. He's a dual threat. But I'll tell you what, man, Kareem Hunt can just kill you in so many different ways. He can line up as a receiver and catch the ball and take it into the end zone from there. He is an absolute north and south power running back. But he can make guys miss. He's elusive. He's just the perfect combination of power,
he's scary too.
Speed, and aggression, and versatility. He's as dynamic a guy as I've ever seen. And he did lead the league in rushing last year, so it's not like ridiculous to say that he's not a good choice. I can't disagree with Saquon Barkley either, especially when you consider how good he looks for a really bad team.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a standout. He's like a runaway rookie of the year.
The offensive line's been very bad, and
that offensive line is bad.
He's still on pace for like 1,200 yards.
And what's upsetting is that offensive line was supposed to be good because Nate Solder and Will Hernandez were supposed to solidify that offensive line, and it's been a total disaster. But Saquon Barkley is amazing. For me to say Saquon Barkley, I just kind of feel like, all right, it's a little too much too soon. He could hit a rookie wall at some point. At some point in around the 12-game mark when the college season would normally end, you might see him slow down a bit. For me, this was kind of easy. It really was sort of Kareem Hunt pretty easy. Like if you're saying you get a choice of one guy, I'm taking him.
All right. All right, and if anybody else, if you're listening, we have several people that are listening right now, watching the show. Go ahead and post it in the comments. Who would be the guy you would pick as your running back? I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, you could pick him. He's relatively young,
Sure,
and he's really multi-talented. Even Gurley, you could still pick him. Le'Veon Bell is the kind of the tricky one because Connors has stepped in and played really well, especially the last 3 games. I mean, you're talking, I mean, rushing for like 100 yards and receiving, and he has just been all over the place, and he is filled into that. Really.
I thought Ben Roethlisberger's quote after the in the post-game press conference yesterday was funny because he just it was just so nonchalant and like not a lot of the reporters laughed at it because I just don't think they picked up on it, but like he said something to the effect of James has been great, obviously he'll take a step back once Le'Veon comes back next week, but it was just I think he was really throwing salt at Le'Veon there actually.
I mean,
it should not be a safe assumption that guy's just going to go right back to being James Conner has been very, very good.
It's going to take him some time, so they're going to be splitting time at best, and that's unfortunate for Conner because he's been playing so well. I mean, they have actually started to click too on offense, and they're not playing great. They're not playing great football yet, but that's more. I mean, that's a little on their defense, but also they haven't been really clicking, and now they're starting to click. And if that can really just, really flip the switch, now watch out because they're going to be putting up 30+ points a game, and that's going to be dangerous for the league. All right, now another topic I wanted to talk about after this huge game that Dak Prescott had against the Jags. And this so-called amazing defense that the Jags have, I had picked. So this is what I was talking about before. Is that I had picked the Jags to destroy the Cowboys 30-18 because I just figured the Dallas Cowboys defense is not very good. I figured that the Jags, Bortles has kind of shown a little bit this year, and he's mobile around. He's moving around, and he's be able to rush for first downs, extended first down. I mean, he's running like 20 yards downfield, and he's actually been making some throws. Yeah. That did not happen this game. He was back. He reverted back to his old self and put his defense behind the 8 ball, and his defense seemed to kind of give up on him a little bit. But do you think that this was legit greatness, or was it just the Jags team who just went into this game like a lot of teams have this year, and they just planned to roll through the Cowboys? Because I mean, the Bills have they've beat 2 legit teams this year, and they can't beat average to below average teams because those teams are like, they legit have to win every single game, and they are preparing for every game as if it's their last. Yeah. Did the Jags lose this, or did the Cowboys figure it out?
So here, my first thought was when it got to 17-0 Cowboys, I actually said to my father-in-law, I said, this game is over. I said, because the Jags do not have the offense to get back into this game. They just don't. They just don't. They are. I can't even tell you what dimensional kind of team the Jags are because I don't even know what they are. I don't think they know what they are. First of all, Blake Bortles has regressed to Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
They have they have a horrible
as Clint
running back
just posted, MV Peterman. He's not quite that bad, but he wasn't good.
He's not that bad. He's not that bad, but he's somewhere in between that and I don't know, Brock Osweiler. But bottom line is Blake Bortles is basically starting to play like the Blake Bortles that we had been used to, a couple of years ago. And on top of that, you've got Leonard Fournette, who just can't get healthy, so they have no consistency at running game. They've got this committee of T.J. Yeldon and then a Jamal Charles. I mean, come on, we've dusted Jamal Charles off the rack and thrown him back into games. It's a bad situation. It's a team that has no identity, and if they get down, they're not a team that has the weapons right now. Even if Leonard Fournette comes back and he's healthy and he's really good, they're still not the kind of team that can come back from that kind of deficit.
Yeah,
I don't know what got exposed in this game. I think the whole team got exposed. I mean, they've given up a lot of that Jags defense, which was supposed to be Super Bowl worthy, has given up a ton of points. 40 to the Cowboys. 40 to a Cowboys team who hasn't done anything offensively this year that makes you think that they could drop a 40 on anyone, much less that defense. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott was doing whatever he wanted. Cole Beasley, okay. I mean, Cole Beasley looked like Steve Largent yesterday. all over the field, doing whatever he wanted to the Jags defense. Where was loudmouth Jalen Ramsey? That whole team, I mean, I don't know who got off the plane. It was like me, you, and a bunch of other scrubs who play on Thanksgiving morning. That's who got off the plane to play the Cowboys yesterday.
I don't play on Thanksgiving morning.
I don't know. I do still. That's coming to an end soon. There's only, so my hips can only take so much more. But I don't know who the Jags are. That is a team with no identity. They're not a running team. They're definitely not a passing team. And the one staple, the thing that was supposed to identify them was their defense. And their defense has not showed up this year. It's amazing that they're 3-3. Mm-hmm. I don't know what else to say. But let's not. I mean, look, you got to give the Cowboys some credit. Okay, they dropped 40 on them and won a game that they needed to win just as badly as the Jags needed to win. And now they're in the conversation in the NFC East, which is a very fascinating division because you've got the Redskins leading it at 3-2-1, and then you've got 2-3-3 teams there in the Eagles and the Cowboys. And it's up for grabs. I mean, it really is. I would still suspect the Eagles walk out of there.
I would hope so.
You really hope so that your hero Carson Wentz gets out, can escape that division with a division
Hulk
crown.
Hogan.
But
Hulk Hogan,
Omaha Hulk Hogan. But I'll tell you, I mean, I don't think there's anything. Listen, if you're a Cowboys fan, I wouldn't get too excited because I just think the Jags are a team without an identity right now.
Yeah, I want to see him come out next game and be like, "Chop it down with the edge of my hand. Chop it down."
Look at you pulling some Voodoo Child lyrics out. That's impressive.
Yeah, man. That's what Hogan came out to in WCW.
Okay, you think I don't know this?
Come on, I know. But some of the listeners might not know, so I have to.
They know.
Hogan's amazing. Golden locks. How he still has those, I have no idea. It's like white.
Does?
It's almost like white.
Oh, he does.
It's really yellow.
Yeah,
the yellowest yellow of them all.
It's white. He's got like Ric Flair hair. Yeah.
I wonder what color his real hair is.
I don't know. I think it's dark because if you look at his eyebrows, there. Are we having this conversation? I think we should wrap up.
Here we go.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
My hair is bleach yellow.
There he is. You see, he's right there, by the way.
Yeah.
There he is.
That's when it was more golden, though. His hair was more golden then.
Yeah.
Oh, man, Mark, I'm not even posting that on here.
Oh, jeez. That's gross. Well, I mean, that is the one identifier. He's not wrong, but we should probably.
And he shaves his pits too, and it's just you don't know anything about Hogan at all.
Anyways, I'm the Bry Man. You can find me at _Bry_man on Twitter. This is Shane Moore. You can find him at _Sprinkle.
Well, anyway, I was gonna say about Dak.
My God, there's more.
If Dak can run the ball like he did.
He had 87 yards on the ground.
If he can run the ball, of course his receivers are going to be a little bit more open, but he still missed some big throws. He also made some good throws, and that's why he's just not great. He's above average, and he can't be consistently good.
He's just Dak.
Yeah, he's an average quarterback, a little above average quarterback. Not quite good, but he's a little below good, and he's in the top. Maybe in the bottom half of the top half of the league, like around the 15 to 18 realm.
I would say that's fair.
Yeah, and he's good with a good running back, a good offensive line, and a pretty good defense with a couple of options to throw to. Sure. He's going to have success.
Serviceable.
But as of right now, he doesn't have that, so he's not going to have much success. So
I mean, he's better than Brock Osweiler.
Well, yeah, he's not a backup. He's not a backup quarterback. I mean, he would be on those top tier teams, but Brock Osweiler. No, I mean Nathan Peterman. Now that's a backup right there. He's like a practice squad guy when you want your defense. When you want your defense to really get their egos high, you put him in the practice squad and have him start throwing picks.
That's not even like a backup name, Nathan Peterman. I don't even know if it's a practice squad name. That's like a guy that you sign post draft as a free agent.
Yeah. It's tough to hate on him, though, because he comes out afterwards and he just starts talking about God and his love for Jesus Christ and all that stuff, and it's man, I don't know, your faith in God is great and all, but he definitely was not looking out for you on Sunday. He was busy on Sunday.
He was brutal. He was watching over the Dolphins, I think. Because that's the only way they won that game. They needed some divine intervention.
Yeah, I mean, his career is horrendous. Nathan Peterman has he has to have like the worst quarterback rating of all time.
Yeah.
Of all time. I don't know.
It's not good.
Somebody has to, I don't know, does Elias do NFL?
I don't know.
Somebody's got to find that stat out because it is bad. I mean, he has
First, Damien,
so many picks.
We need to put the beautiful mind on football duty.
Yeah.
Have him do a little research.
Oh, man. All right. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of our show. Oh, wow. It is the end of our show. Here we go. I'll play a short one. All right. Let's get out of here. My name's Shane Moore. You can find me on Twitter at Einhorn
My name is the Brian Man. You can find me on Twitter at _man.
Can we end the show so I can call and yell Brian?
No, you can't because I have to hop on a conference call.
All right, and you can find the show on Twitter at that's me, at Shane and Bryman. You can find us at facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman, where we go live every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Mondays and Saturdays, 9:45 a.m. And then Wednesdays at 11. We'll be back here Wednesday. We'll talk about a little Thursday Night Football. We'll actually, talk about a little more October baseball. And we will be back again very soon. Thank you guys for listening. As I said, you can find us at www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. And you can listen to all our podcasts. That's where they all go. You can also find us on iTunes, iHeartRadio, anywhere podcasts are played. Thanks for listening.
All right. Stay classy, play the globe. Check out the Glass trailer.
Yes.
Looks good.
It does look good. The new one that just came out. It's going to be an entertaining movie.
Glass trailer number 2. Check it out.
Peace out. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You can find Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bryman on iTunes or www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com.